Good afternoon and evening, folks. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us here at Marshall Reddick for our webinar tonight on Nashville, Tennessee, the city of music and a thriving real estate market. I'm joined today by Chris Childs and Logan Rhea of the Nashville office. And guys, why don't you introduce yourselves real quick?
Yeah, hey everybody, Chris Childs here, and I've been a realtor in the Nashville area for about 6 years, and definitely believe and know that this city is going to continue growing and thriving for sure.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Logan Ray here. Great to meet you, everyone. Glad you guys are here attending and learning and becoming more educated so you can invest in what you understand. And I've been realtor for the past 2.5 years, worked with a lot of investors, and excited to see the thriving, booming market of Nashville continue to grow and hopefully partner with you guys. So glad you're here.
Here is a little bit about myself. I'm an advisor here at Marshall Reddick, and what that essentially means is I'm kind of like a quarterback for many deals. I'm the initial point of contact. I help clients with whatever it is they're looking for, help them get their pre-approvals, work with lenders, select a market, and go anywhere from there. I've assisted clients both in-state and out-of-state in both single-family and multifamily transactions. My specialty is actually, I specialize in multifamily residential units here in the Orange County market. I am a licensed California realtor, have been for 4 years plus at this point. And I actually do have my degree in real estate. I have my associates of real estate. I didn't know that was a thing until I saw it on the college curriculum. And I also have a passion for educating. I come from a family of educators, so there was always the thing, there's no such thing as a dumb question. So feel free, if you have any questions, to reach out. I always love taking time and helping as many people learn about real estate as possible. Definitely a passion of mine. So a little bit about Marshall Reddick. Some people have been continuing clients over the years. I see a lot of people that we're going to be attending tonight go all the way back to 2006, 2004, some 2000. Like literally when we started having these systems to log all these clients in the system, right? But for those who are just joining us tonight, Marshall Reddick is a powerhouse in the essence of we are a trifecta. We have a real estate brokerage, which means we can help you purchase, sell, 1031 exchange, any real estate. We do private money lending. So if you're looking for a construction loan, flip loan, bridge loan, sometimes we do traditional 30-year financing. We do that as well. You can also purchase notes. That's another subject for another day. But we also, it's the most important out of the three, we do property management. What that means is you can buy a deal, but if you don't manage it effectively, it's not a deal anymore. What's great about Marshall Reddick is, as I said, we're a real estate trifecta. We do all three in-house with substantial communication between any team member and any era of our company. A little blurb here, we make it possible to purchase residential real estate in carefully selected areas of the United States. Our organization provides real estate brokers, contractors, property managers, and access to top resources such as lenders, CPAs, insurance agents, attorneys, and much, much more. Now, a little bit about the different markets which we operate in. So everything in green is somewhere that we have offices set up in place. That includes, the Bay Area, LA, Orange County, Riverside, San Diego, Cape Coral, Port Charlotte, Clarksville, Nashville, which is new and exciting, Austin, Texas, and San Antonio. The other markets, we do have good referral partners who still help us get transactions closed. So if you have any other properties in these markets, we can help you as well. All right, now here is essentially a premise or a preview of what the process looks like and where we choose where to invest. Number one is the most important, something that we look at a lot of statistics on, the job market. Why is that important? Because essentially you're investing in real estate where your main client is an employee, somebody who hopefully has a great job, who gets a good income, who can afford to pay the rent. So jobs are always most important. We pick places with good job diversity. So we're looking at military, manufacturing, medical. We want to have a place that has every single piece of the economy so that if something does get hit, you're still going to have a ton of good tenant pool. Vacancy rate. We also look at markets that have a low vacancy rate. Why do we choose that? Because vacancy means you're not getting rent paid. So low vacancy rate means you're always going to be having checks coming in, and there's always going to be a tenant lined up if you have a vacancy in your property. Economic diversity. That ties into the job market like I was talking about earlier, but we're looking at places that have a bunch of different economic opportunities for people to earn a wonderful living. Housing affordability. This is also very important and a big reason why. I've had a couple of clients who actually picked up and moved their primary residence from California to Tennessee. It's a place where you can afford to live a great life. You're going to have a higher quality of life because the lower housing costs. Landlord friendly. This one's very important, especially for people like myself. I deal with a lot of clients, often with some of these local California multifamily properties, that you run into a lot of roadblocks. We pick other states for a lot of our investors that have a lot more landlord friendly laws. If you want to raise the rent more than the allotted amount that California usually tells you can raise it, you can. You're not in California anymore. If you're looking to have evict a tenant, if you're having some issues, you're not going to run into as much kickback as some states would give you. And strong education as well. So this is more entailed to what we know about the markets. We look at markets that we do tons of research on. Not only am I based in California, but we have conversations regularly with our agents in each of these offices. We fly out often to these markets. We look at what's going on. We check out the growth. We check out the statistics, and we're always keeping up to date on what's changing in these markets. So that's what strong education is to us, as well as reliable property management. Like I said before, out of the trifecta, this is the most important part because, like I said, you can buy a good deal that looks great on paper, but if you don't have it managed effectively and you're not trying to increase that NOI as high as possible, you're not going to realize those numbers that you see on paper. So it's important to have a good team, and you will see that with Marshall Reddick. We have our leasing agents, our owner coordinators, and our tenant coordinators. There's people who have specific jobs set in place to make sure your property is actualizing the highest net operating income possible. All right, here's our Tennessee team. This picture was taken a little while ago, but it's our office out there. They just moved into a new Tennessee office, and everybody out there, including property management, sales, leasing, turnkey properties, and private lending, are all under one roof. And that's what's great. We have that here in Newport as well. It's always awesome if I have questions for the property management or private lending team. It helps to have those people sitting a cubicle away from you because it's a lot easier to pop up, get that question answered, and get things done. And that's exactly what they're doing in the Tennessee office as well. Now, I wanted to make a short introduction to Chris Childs. Chris and I personally have a few deals going on under contract right now. Hopefully they're going to be closing in the next couple days. But he has been a realtor for quite some time and is an excellent agent to work with, not just on a professional level from him to me, but from a realtor to client perspective as well. I've only heard great things, not just, again, from myself, but from my clients as well, raving reviews. So yeah, Chris, take it away.
Thank you so much for the introduction, and yeah, I really appreciate the people that I'm able to help in this market. So, like Thomas said, my name's Chris, and I'm a licensed realtor here in Nashville. Also work both markets between Nashville and Clarksville. And one of the things that I really try to do to stand out for my clients is looking for all available options for properties. Which means not just properties that are listed on the MLS, but networking with other agents and exploring for sale by owners and even calling through neighborhoods if that's what it takes. So we definitely do whatever it takes for our clients. This is a picture of my family. We just had one join us last week. My third son was born. And we are super excited, especially this time of year. It is our special Christmas present. The map just beside our picture here, I wanted to point out where I live, which is in a small town called Pleasant View, but it is conveniently located right off of Interstate 24. And so I'm about 20 minutes away from Clarksville, about 30 minutes away from Nashville. But it allows me to easily work in both markets. And I want to introduce one of our newest Marshall Reddick agents here in Nashville, Logan. Why don't you go ahead and share a little bit about yourself as well?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So, hey guys, my name is Logan Ray. I've been in real estate for the past 2.5 years and very much enjoyed it. Actually was a full-time musician before that. And we joke in Nashville, throw a rock and it lands on a realtor who was formerly a musician. So a lot of creative guys that end up joining the business, and a lot of my mentors were all in real estate, so I ended up joining. Been in lived here for 11 years and went to college around here in Middle Tennessee State University. And so just have networked a lot with people in all types of industries, and I was very involved in the hospitality world as well. And so it's exciting to be jumping back into real estate, and it's just skyrocketed this past 2.5 years as far as my career. Um, and I kind of specialize in new constructions with the market, the way that it's been the past 1.5 to 2 years. We've come up with a lot of creative strategies on helping clients build equity very quickly with waiting and just buying a new build. And so that's basically forced me to network with a lot of developers and builders and basically get off market properties or negotiate deals and come up with creative loan strategies. I'm also an investor myself. I own an Airbnb and a rental property, and came up with a really awesome strategy to get a renovation loan and use part of that loan to pay it back. So anyway, I'm passionate about investing, and I actually am an investor, and that's one of the main reasons I got into real estate, was so I could invest. So yeah, that's a little bit about me and my career. You want to hit the next slide? So that's my fiance, the beautiful Angel right there. And her name is Britt, and we actually just got engaged a couple months ago and doing a quick engagement. We're getting married 31 days from now. Very excited about that. We both have Australian Shepherds. It's kind of funny. We actually both were in the music business and we're in the hospitality world, and now we're both entrepreneurs. She works in the finance world, and so we both drive Honda CRVs. Just a lot of similarities. Fun fact: that house you see right there is in Donaldson, where I live, which is right near the airport. And I actually helped her. I represented her, and we always joke like, "Oh yeah, all my exes were former clients of mine." But so it was awesome helping her get that house, and we've seen that go up in equity a lot and just appreciate. And anyway, the house is incredible. It's fully renovated, massive garage for downstairs. You can't really see, but there's a massive 3-car garage that is built back here. And yeah, we love Nashville. We're sticking here. This is where I live, kind of east of that river, of the Cumberland right there, east of East Nashville. And yeah, it's one of my favorite places to live. It's also kind of a hidden gem in Nashville. It's called the Donaldson area, or 5 minutes north of the airport. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Logan.
Yeah. Chris, if you want to maybe kind of jump in, and Chris and I are kind of tag teaming this presentation part, talking about some of the statistics about Nashville. So if you want to take it away, and then I can fill in the gap.
Absolutely. Well, I always think it's helpful for people who aren't familiar with our area to just kind of go over the landscape, talk about a couple of different hot areas within the Nashville area where we're focusing on, and just get you a better idea of the lay of the land. So Middle Tennessee, Nashville being right in the center, is made up of 10 counties. You can see those in this map here surrounding Nashville. But within these counties, there is a lot of diversity. There's a wide range of different industries, parks, and also a unique mix of residential type properties. So depending on where you go, to the west of Nashville tends to be more hilly and even slightly mountainous in some places. So the homes out there look way different than, south of town or north and what have you. To the east of Nashville, though, I want to point out we've got 2 large lakes. We've got Old Hickory Lake and Percy Priest Lake. So Old Hickory Lake is up by Hendersonville and is a super popular area that people who enjoy lake life, boating, fishing, any water sports, that would be sort of an ideal area around Hendersonville and even on up into Gallatin. Just south of that, like I said, is Percy Priest Lake. It's also a great lake that I know it has great fishing from what I hear. So both of those are desirable areas. Then directly east of Nashville, down I-40, we have Mount Juliet and Lebanon. We're seeing lots of new construction coming up in those areas, just because if you go a little further outside of Nashville, the land prices tend to be cheaper and the cost of construction tends to be lower. So if you're looking for some new construction, that's a good direction to at least explore. I know the schools are also higher rated in those areas as well. If you look north of Nashville, or really more northwest of Nashville, down Interstate 24, that goes all the way up to Clarksville, which is the other primary market that we are in here in Tennessee for Marshall Reddick. So the commute to Clarksville could be about 45 minutes to an hour. You do see lower home prices there. Generally, you get homes with more cash flow, but a little bit less appreciation towards Clarksville. And as you get closer to Nashville, you tend to see homes with maybe not as much immediate cash flow, but the appreciation is going to be a whole lot more with the amount of growth that we have coming to the area. And then west of town, as I said, west of Nashville is going to be more of a mountainous area. Not the main area that we're focusing on. We haven't really sold many properties to investors west of Nashville. It's a little more sparse and spaced out there. Not as much development going on out that way. And then south of Nashville, down I-65, you've got Williamson County, which has Brentwood, Franklin, Thompson Station, and Spring Hill. It is the most affluent county in Middle Tennessee. It does have the highest net worth. So you can find a lot of great properties there, but not one that we're mainly focusing on for investors. And that is a general landscape of Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, something too. Murfreesboro is actually bigger in population than Chattanooga, which is about an hour and a half, 2 hours south of Nashville. So this whole area, just a couple overview, is growing a lot. We do have a lot of properties that Marshall Reddick manages in Clarksville, and we're slowly making our way into different areas of Nashville. But we're just seeing a lot of growth in South Nashville. A lot of investors are looking at Old Hickory as well. As Chris said, Lebanon and Mount Juliet are a lot of new constructions are being built out there because of land and affordability. And it's basically just expanding outward. So you throw a rock and it lands on a good spot to invest in Nashville. We'll kind of go over a few future plans later, but that's just wanted to throw that in there too.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to take over this next section. So if you guys see on the screen, this is basically the past 9 years of the Nashville market. And we can kind of see, I mean, the median household in 2013 was around 200K. That would have been insane. It's grown over 14% in appreciation every single year. If this is actually a really cool website, Redfin. If you type in Redfin data center, and then you go to the region type, the region, type in Nashville, that's where this data is if you want to see it for yourself. And I encourage you to explore the whole site. It's really valuable insight. They do a lot of research and data. So just kind of looking at the past couple years, we can kind of see how every single year around the same time, beginning of the year, it starts off a little low, then it increases, and then by the summertime, halfway through, it's usually exploding. and then it comes back down to the winter. Same pattern. 2020 really exploded, and then it sunk down in the fall. And obviously we all know the reason is because more people are buying in the summertime and the spring. Families are looking to move. Schools, it's the summertime, it's everyone's happy, and then wintertime everyone's cold, and people are kind of settled more in their leases. You can see really in 2021 it increased over about 17% and exploded. And as of now, this is where we are going into 2022. You can see it's starting to increase again. So the main reason I wanted to point that out, in that average right there is right around 400 versus a year ago it was 350. Statistically speaking, that's $50,000 that it's gone up. So if it's increasing this rate again, which every lender and everyone I'm talking to is seeing that it's not slowing down because of the booming economy and the population growth, that's a $50,000 increase in equity right there that we're seeing projected that's going to happen again. And the other reason I bring it up is because currently it's going back up. So it's basically a great time to invest right now compared to the summertime when everyone else is buying and you're having to do multiple offers and over asking and appraisal guarantees and pass or fail inspections, which is part of the process. But I just wanted to point that out. Like I said, I encourage you to explore this website, but that's really the past, what we've seen, and we don't see it slowing down anytime. In fact, we see it increasing even more.
Definitely. It looks like a pretty healthy chart to me. I mean, the growth has remained consistent on an upward trend. And I think it's interesting, Logan, that the big increase this past year, which I'm sure had to do some with coming out of COVID, and then also with the announcement of some of the companies that we'll talk about here in just a little bit that are coming to Nashville. So
yeah, very interesting right there, and glad to be in it right now.
absolutely. So Nashville, if you didn't know, is actually ranked as the 4th best real estate market in the US. It's largely attributed to our booming real estate. Our market is largely attributed to the people who are moving here for jobs, like we've said. So we just continue to see new companies announce. And actually, some of the trends that we're looking at are expecting about another 50% increase in population by 2045. So yeah, it's definitely not appearing to slow down. Right now, you can see our population is just under 2 million in the Middle Tennessee area. We've got a great median age for employment, right around 34 years. And the median income of Nashville, you can see, is just over 70,000. I imagine that's going to continue to increase as well. So what would you like anything to add to that one, Logan?
Yeah, just the population's actually, the beginning of this year, Chamber of Commerce did a study, and the statistics are they're projecting 136 people a day to move here. That's what they're seeing currently, projecting basically by 2040 over 1 million people. So that's why I mentioned earlier, me and my lender, when we were talking through this, you throw a rock and it lands on a good spot to invest in Nashville. We're seeing the appreciation grow faster because of the population, because of the demand, and no one can predict the future. We don't think that there's going to be a crash anytime soon, but if there were, a city like Nashville is in such high demand, with everyone from California and New York and just everyone moving here, that it's being in a recession, owning rental properties is actually a really good thing to have. And the population growth is not slowing down, and then the economic growth is not slowing down compared to somewhere like, let's say, St. Louis, where no one's really moving there. So there's no population and there's no big companies, no economic growth. So I just wanted to mention that as far as making Nashville like a really secure city to invest in.
Absolutely.
So we have the home ownership rate right now is at 59%. A lot of people rent. A lot of younger people are moving, as we saw the median age, and it's a lot of young professionals who are moving here. That it's a very transient city. So we have people that stay for a couple years and then they move on somewhere else. It's actually about a 4-hour radius, 4-hour, difference between like 20 major cities, 4 hours north in St. Louis, and we got Chicago 6 hours, Atlanta's 4 hours south. If you just kind of draw a radius of like 4 to 6 hours, you're hitting about 15 to 20 very popular cities. So that's why people don't want to, they want to own, but they love renting here because they can just go hang out for a couple years and then get their fix of Nashville and then move out somewhere else. We saw earlier that the home average price was around 400. This is 376. That's typical with Davidson County, specifically where this data is coming from. But as you saw in that Redfin data, it is increasing. And it did go up. When I first started, it was at 300 2.5 years ago, and now it's at 376. So it's pretty incredible as far as the demand. And then lastly, we're seeing unemployment rate at 3.8%. Once again, as I mentioned, the population growth and the economic growth is one of the best in the city. Actually, we had a data that was it was the second fastest metro economy in the US, over 26% job growth in the past 10 years. So not short on jobs here. Nashville's really known for healthcare and entertainment. And so but it's also a lot of entrepreneurs, and it's a very creative city. So we're having people come from all over that are business owners, and then, they're spreading the love and helping start more businesses. And so we're seeing a lot of, healthy business growth.
Absolutely. All right. So this number, it's going to change depending on which neighborhood you're looking in, but on average, home values in Nashville across the area increased by about 20% in just 1 year. I'd say that's a pretty good return that most anybody would be happy with on their investment. We have the median sale price here. I know we were just looking at the average. Those numbers can be a bit skewed depending on, again, what you're looking at, but looks like the median is around 415,000 right now. I can just tell you, because I look at the market every single day, it is, for a great home that someone would want to live in, we are looking at over 400,000 probably for that price point. But not just home values, rents have continued to increase, and in fact saw over 17% growth in rent rates just over last year. So buying a home in Nashville not only will produce some great appreciation, but you will also have rising rents year over year. And as Thomas mentioned earlier, Tennessee is a very landlord-friendly state, and we aren't bound by some of the oversight that are in states like California. So the rents definitely will continue to go up over time. And then, almost 50% of all homes in Nashville are renter occupied, or in Davidson County rather. So, it's a good mixture of people who own homes versus people who are renting. Some of those people, personal clients of mine, I know a lot of people do want to move to Nashville, but they aren't exactly sure where they would want to live. So they decide to rent for a year and just become more familiar with the areas and, just get a better sense of the landscape and everything.
Yep, Chris, something on that. I had a friend of mine who put their property in, it was in Wedgwood, Houston, which is kind of like southeast of Nashville. And they had just listed it to rent, and they had over 30 hits before it was even on there for about an hour. So
Wow.
the rental market is really hot in Nashville. Like I said earlier, there are a lot of young professionals who just want to live in the nightlife or want to, Airbnb and stay, invite friends over. So we actually are seeing the average is around 2,500, sometimes $3,000, sometimes less, as far as rent. And a lot of people really like that 3-2 bedroom type setting. But as Chris mentioned, it is going up. Like it went up 17% last year, and we're not seeing it slow down. So just wanted to mention that as well.
I was looking at rents today for another client, available rentals, and the rental market is very tight. So definitely a great time to be buying properties in Nashville. You want to take this one, Logan?
Yeah, we're looking at Nashville. Like I said earlier, is the #1 metro in economic strength. Couple things about this area. There's a lot of massive companies moving here, which Chris is going to go by later. But one that I wanted to mention is General Motors. They're going to be building, a lot of different cars and electric cars, and they actually invested over $2 billion in Spring Hill, which is just kind of south of Nashville, kind of more in that Franklin area. So there's massive companies that are coming here. Another one's Bernstein Alliance. They are, or sorry, Alliance Bernstein. They're a wealth management company. Typically, a company like that moving from New York, they'll move to Chicago or LA, but instead they're moving to Nashville. It lets us know that they know something that maybe we don't know, and they know that the economy's booming and that this is going to be one of the next, hottest cities to move in. So it's the second hottest job market in the country, and we're ranked #2 for the fastest in selling homes, and it's the 4th best real estate market in the U.S. for investing. So as we mentioned earlier, we don't see it slowing down. The economic growth, there's a lot of jobs out here, and everyone's benefiting from it.
Definitely. So we need to actually answer this question, why are people moving to Nashville? I mean, we've given a lot of reasons so far, and we've hit on this one several times, but again, because of all these jobs, our economy is booming. If you drive around really any part of Nashville or the surrounding areas, you're going to see something being built, a neighborhood, a commercial building, hotels, what have you. It is just booming. So that is a big driving factor in why people are moving here. But not just that, we have a low cost of living compared to a lot of other states. So if you want to get an instant pay raise, if you're able to work from home, for instance, people move here. And if you're coming from some of these high tax states, then you're probably going to get an instant boost as soon as you come to Tennessee. We do not have personal income tax in Tennessee. And then, as you can see here, the income per capita in Nashville is about 20% higher than the average in the United States. So those are several more reasons why people continue to move here in droves.
Yep, people really like the entertainment in Nashville, and the entertainment scene, the music scene. You can basically listen to a different band at a different venue every single day for the entire year, and then do the same thing again next year. Being a musician who played on Broadway, it is pretty spectacular to go down there and the energy, and there's nothing like it. The only thing I could compare to is a smaller version of Austin, Texas. But like I said, this isn't within a 4 to 6 mile radius, so we have a lot of people who out of towners who are visiting constantly, and so we're just seeing a lot of entertainment. I think it's the second city for bachelor party or bachelorette parties, Chris, if I remember.
That's the
And
big
so Another reason is some of our sports teams. So we have the Nashville Predators. They were in, very good hockey team. Go Preds. Nashville, it loves being a part of the Titans. The Tennessee Titans with Derrick Henry is our NFL football team. That's always bringing in a lot of people as well. And then we actually just expanded or are currently building our Nashville Soccer Stadium. So this is a newer addition, and it's basically the largest stadium in North America, over 30,000, the largest soccer stadium, and one of the largest ones that they're constructing. And it's where the old fairgrounds is. And they're basically torn that down. It's going to be incredible. There's going to be like tons of restaurants, amazing opportunities to just hang out and once again attract a lot of entertainment. And there's going to be over 30,000 people that will fit in that stadium. And then we also have a minor league baseball team, which also is really fun for hanging out, throughout the week and bringing a lot of friends and just going to the baseball game. So we're definitely not short on sports teams, and it's continuously growing. I know that eventually they're going to add, make it not a major league baseball team too. So.
Yeah, it's Music City, but we also have sports, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Logan, I know you mentioned several businesses coming to town, but why don't you talk a little bit about this?
Yeah, definitely. So once again, we are seeing massive companies move here, like Nissan, and they have a factory out in Smyrna and in Murfreesboro, and we're seeing really big companies put a lot of money and pump a lot of money in here. One thing that Nashville is known for is the healthcare industry, and so HCA actually is investing several $1,000,000 in expansion companies. On top of that, I'm also seeing Apple Music having a headquarters here, the Amazon, several Amazon warehouses in Mount Juliet, which is kind of that east area that's really friendly for new builds and families. That's bringing in a lot of jobs. Ramsey Solutions, Dave Ramsey's company, they're projected to grow by 1,000 people and bringing in more business as well. And I think it was voted like one of the top 50 companies to work for in the US. That's in Franklin, but a lot of people live in Nashville will just commute down there. And yeah, once again, entertainment wise, we're not seeing anything slow down with iHeartMedia expanding as well down here.
One thing we didn't add to this slide, Logan, but that's definitely worth mentioning is Oracle, the technology company that is bringing over 8,000 jobs right in the heart of downtown Nashville.
Right.
They're building I don't remember how many 100-acre campus right on the river, and it's going to be amazing when that's done, but that is going to be a huge boost to the immediate center of Nashville.
Yep. Think of it like downtown Miami is what it would almost kind of look like. They're going to have 3 amazing, incredibly designed bridges, and people will actually be able to take river taxis. This is happening right now and will be developed in the next 3 to 5 years. But people will be able to take river taxis from that river north area to downtown. Really cool technology, and once again, all the more reason why people are moving here.
Definitely. On top of sports, music, entertainment, and great jobs, we've got one of the top national universities right here in Nashville, Vanderbilt, and they also have great sports teams as well. But it was actually founded in 1873, which I didn't know that before when we prepared the presentation that it was that old. But it is a very renowned college. They've done some new renovations recently to their campus, which really look good when you're driving into the downtown area off of West End where it's located. But Vanderbilt also has the medical center here in Nashville that people travel to from all over the world for their specialty medical practices.
Yeah, one of my friends unfortunately got diagnosed with MS, but he's down here almost every single month because of the specialty doctors over at Vanderbilt. So it is producing, once again, as I mentioned, healthcare and not only jobs, but just specialty doctors and things like that that a lot of people need, and a lot of people are, it's convenient because it is kind of the heart of the South. A couple other colleges are Lipscomb, Belmont University. Like I said, Middle Tennessee State, that's where I went to college in Murfreesboro, and that's actually the largest college for undergraduates in the state of Tennessee. And then we also have Tennessee State University and Trevecca, a lot of private schools and very good education in Nashville.
Definitely. So this slide I just want to touch on, and then I'm sure you may have some things to add as well, but it is the first photo that you see in the top left-hand corner. You can see where Nashville is right in the center. The Cumberland River loops around to the north. So just north of the Cumberland River is where we're seeing companies like Oracle developing property. We're seeing other large scale projects coming in. But the idea is from the planning and zoning commissions here in Nashville, we're seeing developers want to basically develop a second downtown. And as Logan mentioned, there's going to be three, at least, this is still in the planning stages, but three signature new bridges that will help relieve some of the traffic and congestion that we do have in Nashville. The city is an old city, and I don't know that they ever planned for the amount of growth that we're seeing. So we're having to make some strides in that to alleviate some of the traffic congestion in some of the different parts. But this is one of the ways that they are focusing on to do that. Also in the Nashville area, there's a proposed theme park, I believe on over 100 acres. That's seems to be in the works anyways when it's coming there. And then River Park on the Cumberland, that's just one of the other proposed development projects that's going to be mixed use, commercial, residential, and also that riverfront access for making that more convenient. So
yeah, but it's going to be immaculate designs. And on top of that too, like I said, or like Chris mentioned, it's going to be able to help out the transportation in Nashville and kind of drive the traffic more towards this second downtown. There's going to be a lot of high rises, several apartments, and several different entertainment spots like movie theaters. And I know Topgolf is right near here, and so it'll be just a drive down there as well. If you could have invested in Germantown or the Gulch, which are two very expensive and prominent areas before they became Germantown or the Gulch, I would have loved to know about that. That's what this is happening in the next 3 to 5 years, where this is projected to become even wealthier than downtown Nashville and the Gulch or Germantown. So really like being ahead of it. Something that Chris and I do actually is look at the city plans and basically help investors see where the next big projects are happening that are public record on the tax records and their projected developments. So these are the main 4 ones that we know of, and that's why we wanted to share it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if we could give you the insider scoop, like this is it. If you could if you wanted to know where should I buy properties in Nashville, with no questions asked, I would be definitely exploring this North Nashville area. All right, Thomas, I'll turn it back over to you for a minute here.
Sure, yeah. Coming back to my side, back to the web page and all the preliminary stuff. Great information. I definitely look into the north side of town for sure after seeing all that. That's pretty cool. So yeah, here it is. Want to see more? You can see that we do all these market data packages, which will have some of that information and more so, more statistics breaking down economic diversity, different classes, different neighborhoods and everything. You can reach out to me and I will send you this market data packet. They're actually a very quick, good read. They come in either PDF or I could email the web page to you that they're linked in. And they're also to be found on the bottom of any property that you're clicking on to see in the Tennessee market. You can see the Nashville, Tennessee market data pack associated with it. All right, and it'll show you a little bit of information like this. You'll see the historical appreciation trend, year over year change. So you can see going all the way back to 1996 up until 2020. We'll also go into the Reddick property rating scale. That's something that we're going to be speaking about. You can schedule a consultation and we'll go more in depth about it, but I'll give you the basics right here. The Marshall Reddick property rating scale is how we rate properties. So neighborhood breakdown, I'm sure you've always heard A class, B class, C class properties. There's actually a luxury and D class on each of the tailing ends of that. And the way that that's rated is we take the average sales price of property in the area versus the property that we're examining. So as you can see, right between A and B class is 100%, which is the average sales price, which is $298,000 and $900,000. Okay, and that from 100% to 130% is A class. From 100% to 80% of the average sales price is B class. And from 80% to 50% is C class. Now, above and below that is luxury and D class. That's just, again, a rating scale to look at different properties. We usually stay away from luxury because it's a little bit more vacancy factor, a little bit more trophy property. We like to hover right around that A to B class for an out-of-state investment because we see the average tenant. You're going to have the biggest tenant pool that you can look at, and you will have more people lined up for your property. C class, you get a little more active maintenance. Sometimes that's a little bit lower purchase price of a property, something that might have some maintenance issues. And D class is just something that's going to be, you're not really going to want to play around with if you're looking for an out-of-state investment. It's going to be a lot more active maintenance and management for purchase price. All right. Well, actually, hold on. This is coming back to you guys, I believe.
Yeah, it's coming back.
Are the Nashville, the hand-picked properties that Logan and Chris have selected. So I'll pass it back to you guys.
Awesome. Thanks for covering that, Thomas.
So what we're looking at right here is an actual model rendering of a lot that's in South Nashville. I specifically chose this Providence Heights one because they actually have two more available. And this builder is a friend of mine that I know has several other properties coming available in 2022. He does an amazing job, very high quality work. And these properties rent out for roughly right now around $2,800 to $3,000 a month. So it's got, as you can see, kind of the breakdown of these numbers. We're expected a monthly income of estimated cash flow. I think this is in year 15, 546. Within the first year, we're seeing around $300 or $400 cash flow with the gross rent. And so anyway, this is a guy who's a friend of mine who's a builder. As I mentioned, I like to network with other builders and developers and try and get these properties before they hit the market so that we can not be as competitive with everyone else that's asking over. This guy sold two more properties just like these. You can kind of see them over here for 440 and 450. And so slowly these will start going up because of the value of these houses that just sold over there. Just to kind of break down some of the numbers. So that's the list price with our 25% down. We did an initial repair cost of around $2,000 because it is a new construction. There's typically a couple things, but that is a little high. Typically, I'm only seeing maybe under $1,000. Closing costs are usually around 2 to 3%. So The Marshall Reddick rating system calculated that at 2.3. And then once again, these are all some of your variable expenses that you're putting in there. The management fee of 8%. And then we also have a vacancy rate that you can, on the website, mess with if you think it's going to be less. 8% is a very safe and accurate and conservative number. That's why we do that. There are no HOAs in this neighborhood. And then lastly, we're projecting a ROI annually of 24%. So once again, much better than investing in stocks. And by the way, this is appreciating every year. One last thing to note about this specific location, there's 3 other builders. This is on a hill. There's 3 other builders that are building on here. They're all charging $480 to $500. Right across the street from this area, there's a company called Legacy Homes. They're building a, I believe it's a 15 to 30 property, 15 to 30 unit property that's going to be homes starting at 500. So what is that going to do in the spring of 2022? It's just going to make the value of this house go up. So what a lot of investors will end up doing is refinancing and then pulling out the cash and the equity in it to invest in other houses in Nashville. Wow. And then a year from now, this thing will be worth probably closer to 550. So yeah, that's pretty much this property. It is a 3, 2.5, and these are called tall skinnies. A lot of, like I said earlier, young professionals move here and they can rent them out. You get, high quality tenants because of the price. And yeah, so that's a little bit about this property. This is the other property that I put in here. So these are, once again, higher price points. These are more of that class A/luxury. Unfortunately, that's just the market in Nashville for new builds. But the $350,000 houses are becoming less and less these days, just because of how quickly everything is appreciating. So this one is at 529 and is projected monthly income of 827 with basically our cash flow at 322 and a 22% ROI. This is actually a 3-story, three and a half bath, 1,600 square feet, and it will be projected to be finished in 2 months from now, basically mid-February to early March. Once again, this is a really thriving area. There are no HOAs, and this specific builder, he builds one-offs around Nashville, and so it's always good to kind of work a strategy in with him that makes sense for a win-win, and a lot of times get a deal under contract before it even hits the market. And the projected rent for this one, because it is the location is closer to downtown, is around 3,200.
Awesome. Thanks, Logan.
Yeah, man.
So this is a home that just hit the market today, actually. It's also a new construction. It's located at 1903 Ashton Avenue, and that is in that prime area of North Nashville that I pointed out to you guys earlier. So this is definitely a key area that we are expecting to see the growth just continue over the coming years. This one's a 3.2, 1,672 square feet. This one's listed at 425, and I estimated the rents for this one around 2,400. Some of the reasons for that being that this particular property didn't have a garage. So that's a factor that you want to take into consideration. It also doesn't have a fenced-in yard yet, so there's a few things that you could do to increase the initial rents, but as is, this would be a move-in ready property, and you could easily rent that for 2,400 with a 25% down payment. This one would give you about $491 of monthly income before your potential expenses here. So yeah, the estimated expenses here. Next property is at 1720 Autumn Ridge Drive. Now this is an existing home, and it's a good example of what is still available in the lower, $300,000 price range. These properties are available, but they do sell fast. They tend to have multiple offers. In this price range, you're definitely going to be competing with primary home buyers. So just something to keep in mind, nothing to be afraid of, but just something to keep in mind there. So this one is a 3-bed, 3-bath, 2,080 square foot home. And as I said, it's listed at $330,000. And the estimated rents for this property was about $2,100. Looking at the rental comps in this area, and this property would produce about $556 of monthly income. And finally, we've got 608 Monticello Court, another existing home, an example of what is available in the low to mid $300,000 price range. This one was a 3-bed, 1.5 bath home. It's 1,932 square feet. And this one we estimated, looking at rental comps, the gross rent to be around $2,100. And this property would produce about $534 of monthly income. All right. Thomas, did you want to touch on our property management?
Sure, yeah. Well, this is a newer slide that we've thrown in there that can actually be found on our website as well. A lot of people always ask us what the fees are, and we are always very upfront with our fees, right? We have a leasing renewal fee, okay? A tenant late fee, which is great because what that means is if the tenant is late, that is a split 100% between, or 50-50 between PM and the landlord, so you're actually incentivized as well, versus other management companies that would keep 100%. Our leasing fee is 50%. We have no setup fee, no maintenance coordination fee. That's a big one that a lot of other maintenance companies make money on, because they'll start finding problems to start charging you for, versus us, we'll just, there's no cost associated. We just want your asset managed effectively. And we don't charge an eviction coordination fee either. Simple, hassle-free, no hidden costs. They're right there, right presented. I can send them to you. They're linked on our webpage right out in the open as well. We more so do property management as a loss, or as a loss leader, so to say, because we're not profiting off the property management. We saw a shortcoming in the real estate investment world, which we've been doing real estate investing since '79. And that's, as I talked about a couple of times, if your asset isn't properly managed, you're not going to actualize your highest NOI, which we take care of it. We have it all in-house. It's very well communicated, and we're not looking to make a ton of money on you. We just want to make sure that your investments are safe. The percentage splits are down at the bottom, 8% for SFR, 2 to 4 unit buildings, so residential multifamily, 7%, 5 to 15, 6%, and going down from there. All right, now kind of wrapping up. By the way, guys, I was very impressed. That's some of the highest cash flow I've seen per price point in a while. With a lot of the stuff you were finding there, 400 to 500 per property is pretty good considering. So I wanted to go a little bit into the next steps. Everybody always asks, well, how do I actually get to see those properties? And that's by scheduling a consultation. Those properties are all still available. They were pulled from either today or yesterday. They're still on the market. They can still be actually purchased. So a consultation is not just about identifying that property or trying to figure it out. It actually is helping look at all of your different evaluations, right? So you're going to see why, how, when, what, where, and who. I always start off my consultations with goal setting. We look at what you're really looking for. You looking to retire in the next couple of years, and you want to turn your investments into some solid cash flow while still having appreciation. Well, then we're going to gear you towards a higher down payment for a property so you can see a good monthly net income. how we're going to evaluate your options. Are we going to be pulling that out of certain investments? Do you have a bunch of cash sitting around? Are you looking at 1031 exchange? Do you have a couple properties that aren't doing as well as you thought they would and you want to transfer to a different market? Those are all different options that we look at, and we like to look at the whole picture and look at our best option. When, this is also an important one as well. 6 months, 12 months, 2 months. When are you looking at purchasing property? Does that all line up with the vacancy you might have at a current property? Does it line up with the fact that you're retiring in the next 60 days and you're looking to use that self-directed IRA? What setting a criteria, looking at what you're looking to acquire. Are you looking to purchase 2, 4, just 1? Will help you actually look at what you have in your finances and analyze your portfolio and help choose the right properties for you. Where, that's also very important as well. There are other markets. I do like Nashville as an investment, especially learning more about the different properties that these guys have brought to the table tonight, and who introducing you to all the key players, be that for a pre-approval, which is of course the first step, or introducing you to Chris and Logan personally and getting you shopping for properties. So the consultation usually takes anywhere from 30, 45 to an hour, depending on how much information we have to relay back and forth. And they're actually quite easy. You just got to reach out and schedule one. And last but not least, here is my personal contact information. You can reach out to me there or at marshallreddick.com, or you can go to marshallreddick.com/consultation. I'll also be following up in the next coming days just to see what everybody thought about the presentation, to see if there's any direct questions I could answer for you. And if you are looking for the recording, if you missed a portion of it, we'll be sending those out as well. Well, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We are actually pretty timely. Usually we run a little bit later, but right at 6:03. Chris, Logan, thanks again, guys. And yeah, we look forward to helping you with your real estate investing goals and acquiring the right properties for you.
Thanks, Thomas. Yeah, thanks everybody for joining us tonight.
Yep. Thank you guys. It was an honor. Looking forward to meeting you guys.
All right. Thank you much. Bye.